If you are wanting to find a way to get your next 100 membership members inside of your membership, I need to talk to you really quick about this challenge I have coming up July 14th to 16th. This is 3 days to figure out what is really blocking your growth and coming up with a personalized plan to get you your next 100 members right away. And this is not just a one-time thing. You are designing something that you can rinse and repeat throughout the entire year to keep growing your membership with predictable, consistent sales anytime that you want your next wave of members. I am serious when I say this is something every single membership founder needs to be attending. I do not do these very regularly throughout the year, so if you are listening to this and you have the opportunity to join this challenge, block off the time in your calendar. You do not want to miss this. This is not just a generic challenge. You are quite literally building your own personalized sales plan that I use inside of my own membership. I use it with my clients. This is our tried and true strategy to get consistent members inside of your membership. The trainings are live with me all 3 days, plus you get a community of other membership founders who are building right alongside with you. And even better, you are getting real feedback from myself, from other founders in our community on the work that you do inside of this challenge, so you can feel really confident knowing that what you do is actually going to work when you go and execute it out in the world. Okay, so this is where you got to listen up. The tickets are $67. However, if you are listening to this before July 3rd, you can actually get your ticket on pre-sale for $37. 50% off if you get your ticket before July 3rd. And one more thing that is absolutely insane is 50% of all tickets sold is actually going to go into a grand prize jackpot, and one of you are going to be walking away with the entire grand prize. Use it to invest in your membership, grow faster, pay off some bills, whatever you want to do with it, it is yours. All you got to do is get your ticket, show up for the 3 days of the challenge, and you have a chance at winning that. Plus, locking in your strategy to sign your next 100 members. Again, it is July 14th, 15th, and 16th. Pause this, go to the link in the show notes, grab your ticket, and then let's get back into the episode. I'll see you there. In this episode, I am answering all of your questions that you have submitted to me throughout the month of June. I'm covering questions on why your community feels dead, why you were able to grow to 50 members and then everything just stopped and plateaued, why members aren't getting results even though you are creating so much content and being active in the community, how to grow your membership when you are losing members every month, and more. Let's get into it. Welcome to the $1 Million Memberships podcast, where we help entrepreneurs like yourself start, grow, and scale multiple 6- and 7-figure online memberships with simple step-by-step strategies that actually work. Your life is about to get so good. Let's dive in. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of $1 Million Memberships podcast. Today is the last Monday of the month, which you know what that means. This is our membership Q&A episode. And if you are new here, first of all, welcome. My name is Paige, and I am so stoked that you are here. If you are growing an online membership, whether you are in the new stages of growing your membership, just thinking about growing a membership, or maybe you have a membership that is established and you're really just wanting to grow it, create a legacy membership, make it the best damn membership in your industry, then you have found the right podcast. Something that we do here is at the end of every month, I take all of your questions that you have submitted to me throughout the month. If you follow me on Instagram, I often put that little Q&A box up on my stories, so you can submit your questions that way, or we have an email, support@PaigeVandy, where you can submit all of your questions, and I save them for these episodes. Okay, let's dive right into it because we've got a lot of ground to cover today. The first question comes from Amy, and her question was, my community feels dead. Nobody's talking to each other, and I'm doing all the work. Any tips? So the first thing is you have to understand what people see and perceive the actual value of your community being. People are only going to engage in your community if they can directly see the correlation between engaging and their results, the result that they're wanting, why they joined your membership in the first place. If they can't see that, if they think that engaging in a community is just another to-do, but it doesn't actually help them with their results, they're not going to do it. So you need to get really, really clear on how does your community specifically go hand in hand with the result that your members are trying to get inside of your community. So for an example, inside of $1 Million Memberships Club, my membership, when our members engage in our community, this is helping them do a lot of things. Number one, it's helping them get new connections. So as a business owner, and especially as a membership founder, connections, network, that is absolutely huge. When you make new connections in a community, a business community, all of our members are running memberships. That opens our members to gaining connections, that lead to potential collaborations, like speaking in other people's memberships, speaking in other people's podcasts, being asked to create content for other memberships, which then hand in hand helps them completely explode their reach. And that's only one of the benefits. Another one might be by posting in our community. That is keeping them actually engaged, keeping their membership top of mind because they are creating that habit, that ritual of going into the community every single day, reading what other people are doing, working on. Maybe one of our members is really struggling with getting their community to engage, and so they go into our community just as part of their everyday, I'm working on my membership, so I'm going to check into $1 Million Memberships Club, see what's going on there. And all of a sudden they see another member who just posted a strategy that they tried in their community that got people to engage and absolutely blew up conversation inside of their community. They go and then try that same thing and it works for them. Now all of a sudden they have something that works inside of their membership that they can repeat every week because they know it works for their membership, helping them create a more sticky community. So those are just a couple examples of why it's important for our members to engage inside of our community. So it's really important to look at, what does that look like for you and your membership? When you can identify that and then clearly define that and communicate that to your members, that is when they will start to engage inside of your community. Number 2, Philip asked, I launched my membership 6 months ago and I'm still stuck at 50 members. What am I doing wrong? Okay, so without seeing the actual membership and all of the possibilities inside, it usually comes down to these 3 leaks. Number 1, you have a conversion leak. So either you are just not hosting sales events, or you're hosting sales events, but they're not converting somehow. People aren't coming into the membership. Number 2, you have a retention leak. So maybe people are coming into the membership, but they're leaving just as fast. People aren't staying inside of your community. This would give you a retention leak, meaning that you need to really work at creating more of a sticky culture inside of your community. And number 3 is the visibility leak. This means maybe you are having sales events. Maybe you do have a really sticky community and people are loving the community, but you just aren't getting visible. And so you've kind of gone through all of the people who were going to buy your membership and all of the people who are interested in your membership, and you just don't have new eyeballs on your brand and on your business. So whether that's on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you do your marketing, you need to make sure that you're constantly putting in effort to your marketing, to your visibility, and you're always getting new eyes on your membership. Now, a membership that isn't growing is always going to boil down to at least one of these leaks, and you might have all 3 or you might just have one. Regardless, it's really important that you understand what is your primary leak so that you can go and fix that right away. If you go and you fix that leak and it's still not growing, then you know that you have to move on to one of the other leaks. So example, if you go and you, for instance, join $1 Million Memberships Club and you learn how to do consistent sales events and how to create a funnel and how to do all of the things and how to do our 3-step framework when it comes to consistent sales, you get that in place, it's working, but you're still not growing, you know that, okay, this is boiling down to visibility. I just don't have the audience, or people are coming into this membership, but they're also leaving. Okay. So the cool thing about memberships and looking at why things aren't working is you can always point it to one of these data points. Memberships are actually so simple to grow when you understand what you're looking for. And of course, I don't just expect you to know what to look for. That's why I created $1 Million Memberships Club, so that you just have this blueprint. All right. Question number 3, Ayana asked, I'm creating so much content for my membership, but my members still aren't getting results. What's the problem? So first things first, results do not come from content. And if creating more content has been your strategy up until now to try and get your members to engage or get better results, you are not alone, because that is actually what most people try and do. If people aren't engaging or if people aren't getting results, then people automatically think, okay, they just don't have stuff. I need to put more trainings in there so that they get better results. When in reality, that's actually going to do the opposite. That's going to get people more overwhelmed, implementing less because they don't know where to implement in all of the things that you have. And then their chances of success and getting results actually just gets cut in half again. What your members actually need is they need a very clear success path. And this is how I do it with all of my clients and our members inside $1 Million Memberships Club. Okay, I always work backwards using this process. So number 1 is we need to look at what is that overall result of your membership. What is the result? Why are people joining it? What are they trying to achieve? Okay, that is the first thing. We need to understand what that is. Number 2 is we need to then look at, okay, in order for them to get that result, what are the processes that they need to understand? What are the things that they need to grasp, that they need to know, that they need to have competency in order to get that result? So you need to understand that. Then the last thing, and don't worry, I'll put all this together in a second. The last thing is that's where you finally put in the deliverables that they actually need in terms of content. So trainings, workbooks, courses, whatever it is, when you actually decide what goes into your membership. So for example, $1 Million Memberships Club, the goal, the result is to grow a 7-figure membership, right? So then I look at, okay, in order for our members to come into this membership and be able, have the competency to grow a 7-figure membership, what do they need to know? That is where my 5-step framework comes in. They need to know membership foundations. They need to know how to get visible online. They need to know how to get consistent sales. They need to know how to create a really sticky community and have high retention. And they need to know how to actually build a world within their membership. Those 5 things are going to get our members a 7-figure membership. That might not happen in 6 months, but if they can master all steps of our framework, put it into a system where then they can run that system and stay consistent with it, that is what's going to grow their membership to 7 figures. So then I look at, okay, in order to do that, they need this lesson. They need our 3-part system to get consistent sales. Okay, that's going in there. They need to understand how to get visible online. Okay, that's going in. They need to understand how to have proper onboarding, how to make sure that their members have a really great success path, how to make sure their members aren't overwhelmed. Okay, all of that needs to go in there. So really, I'm just breaking down every single process and framework that our members need to know. And then I need to look at, okay, what is the actual content that goes with this? Now, what most people do wrong is they'll just take everything that they have. Maybe your membership came after you have done private coaching for 3 years. And so over those 3 years, you created all these journal prompts and worksheets and all this stuff. What most people do is they will just take everything that they've ever created and put it into their membership and be like, perfect. This person just years of knowledge. This person's getting so much. But in reality, you are literally killing their success by doing that. When I teach this inside of $1 Million Memberships Club, I tell our members, when you put content into your membership, you should go through that every single quarter, and you should look at, is there anything I can take out? Is there anything that is in here that actually just does not need to be in here? You should have the least amount of content possible without actually harming their results. Question number 5 is from Rebecca, and she asked, I'm struggling with churn. Launches don't even top up those lost in between. I love this question because this really goes back to those 3 leaks. You need to really understand, okay, if you are struggling with churn, if people are leaving your membership, what is the leak? Now, here's the thing. If you are struggling with churn, so people leaving your membership, you might automatically think, okay, people are canceling, there's something wrong with my community. But this is where I'm going to stop you with that, because what is really, really important to know here whenever you're looking at these leaks and churn, etc., is you need to actually understand what is normal for a membership. So for example, there are key performance indicators that you need to be tracking when it comes to your membership, and churn is one of them, right? The actual percentage of people that leave your membership, what's actually healthy and what should actually cause you to flag it. So anything over 10% churn is a problem, because that means that you are not going to be growing. You're just going to kind of be spinning your wheels. So 8 to 10% churn is actually industry average. If you have 8 to 10% of your members leaving every single month, that's actually not a huge red flag. That's pretty normal. Now, inside $1 Million Memberships Club, we try and always go above and beyond the average. So I like to try and get our members at around 3%. That is what we aim for, because also we're building elite industry gold standard memberships inside $1 Million Memberships Club. But I say this because if you are looking at your churn and you have people leaving, but then you actually run the numbers and it's say 7%, it's not a huge red flag. That's something that I would more so look at. Okay, if your membership isn't growing, but your churn is actually at that base, I would actually be more inclined to look at your visibility and your sales. If your churn is over that 10% and your membership isn't growing and launches aren't covering it, then we have a community problem. There is something inside of your community that your members are not seeing the value. Maybe they are overwhelmed because they don't have a solid success path that they can follow and an idea of how, if they stay inside of this membership, what are the different milestones that they're going to hit? What are they trying to hit? What different markers of success are they going to hit by staying inside of your membership? Maybe your members just don't know what that is. Maybe you have it in your head, but they don't know what that is. Or maybe they're just overwhelmed. You have content everywhere, and maybe the content will get them the results if they use it, but they don't know where to start, so they just don't use it. They don't implement. Or maybe they're just not seeing the value of the community. So you really need to understand, okay, where in my community is this leak? Are people not connecting? Are they not seeing the value? Are they overwhelmed? What is going on in there? If you are able to really pinpoint inside of your community, okay, this is the problem. This is where people are struggling. This is where the leak is happening, but then you're still not growing. Are you having consistent sales? And when you have sales, are they creating enough urgency that is going to get people to decide and get people off the fence? Or are you kind of just throwing out promotions every now and then? It's not really structured and it's not really compelling for your audience to say yes to the membership and join. So again, without actually seeing the membership, there's a lot that could go into this, but I always go back to those 3 leaks. And then once you can really identify your leak, that's when you can look further into each one of those buckets, into the visibility bucket, into the sales bucket, into the sticky community and retention bucket. That's when you can really look further into those and see, okay, what can be fixed here? And also understanding what you're looking for in terms of your KPIs. What numbers are you measuring your membership on? Another great part for those of you listening who are like, okay, I need to know all of these things I don't know. Inside $1 Million Memberships Club, when you first come into our homepage, we have what's called our membership health checker. And we have all of the numbers that you need to know for your membership right there, where you can actually plug it in. You can look at your own dashboard. You can look at your sales over the month. You can look at your churn rates, which most platforms are going to tell you those. And you can actually plug in what you currently have and you can see, or it will automatically do it for you and tell you, okay, your membership is really healthy in churn, but your sales, that's lacking. You need to go to the consistent sales challenge. And so $1 Million Memberships Club is completely set up for this. If you guys are listening to this and you're overwhelmed at like, oh my God, I need to know all these numbers. I don't know what these numbers are. What the heck? That's why $1 Million Memberships Club exists. Highly recommend you come join us. The link for that is in the description below. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on the podcast, then it is in the show notes. Now, $1 Million Memberships Club is not open all the time. So if you go there and we're closed, make sure you join the wait list. Really important that you join the wait list so that you're notified and you don't miss our next opening. Next question from OB is, I'm exhausted from running my membership alone. How do I know when it's time to hire help and what should I delegate first? So when it comes to hiring for your membership, I am of the belief that you should always be trying to slowly buy back your time, whether that looks like a VA to help you for a few hours a month or whatever that looks like. Always investing into buying back time so that you can focus on the things that you need to focus on, the things that only you can do. Now, that being said, when we're looking at an official hire for membership, here's my advice. This is really only going to apply to you if you started your membership as a solo. Some people start membership already having team, and that's great. This is not going to apply to you if you started this solo, okay? So once you established your initial cadence with your membership, meaning you know how often you do calls, you know the structure of membership, you know when you're posting in the community, what those regular posts inside of the community look like when you do them, just the general cadence of running your membership. Once you have that, then that's a good sign that you are ready to hire someone. Then you can hire somebody, and you don't even have to hire someone for a lot of hours. You can literally just hire someone for a couple hours a week if you need to from the start to free up time. But I say have those down, because if you are kind of like in the messy middle with your membership and then you try and hire somebody on, you're not going to be able to train them well if you don't know what you're training them on. Now, this is different if you're building a membership alongside a team member, right? But if you are bringing someone in new, know what you're doing. It's good good to know these basics. When it comes to hiring, and I actually did a full episode on this a couple episodes back if you want to listen to it, but my preference and my recommendation is hire someone who is going to help you with creating the community culture. Because at the end of the day, the membership is going to grow from the community, right? The community, having a sticky community, a place that people are actually engaging, that's going to be the heartbeat of your membership. So having someone who can really help you connect members, spotlight members, schedule the calls, all of the things that go into actually creating this buzzing community, that is who I would get in place. This is going to allow you to make sure that your community is actually still becoming stickier and stickier, that you're growing it, but then you can also focus on more of the visionary tasks, steering the ship, bringing in new members, those sort of things. Also, when you hire somebody and your first hire is directly tied to the community, that is their job. When they get really well versed inside of your community and your vision and where the community is going and how your community works and the members and all of the things, it is so much easier to then hire again and have somebody working under your community manager, whether that means that community manager is going up into more of like a community and team management role or whatever that is. But because the heartbeat of your membership is going to be the community, that's where everything you do revolves around. It is smart to hire somebody for that role. And as you start to expand, it is much easier to bring people in, have them under that person, or have that person be able to help you with expanding your membership from there. That is just like such an overview to the iceberg when it comes to hiring. So again, I have another episode completely on that if you want to listen to that. And that is it for this episode. I hope this was really helpful for you. And again, if you want to have your questions answered here on the podcast in more detail, I sometimes answer them on my Instagram stories, but there's just nothing like actually doing it on the podcast and being able to deep dive into it. Anyways, if you want to get your questions answered, email us at support@PaigeVandy, and you can submit your questions there. Or if you follow me on Instagram, then sometimes I put that Q&A box on my stories. Don't miss the chance to add your question into there either. I love you guys. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.